I've always driven for efficiency, because I also never had time, had to do stuff, so I was always driving for efficiency. I always thought it's willpower, good German, willpower, boom, 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 plow through, so until one day I realized it's all about energy. And how did I realize that? I realized it very straight. It came relatively late in my leadership life, So when I realized the following phenomenon, I saw around me people really getting burned out. I also saw that not only older people, but younger people got burned out, and I thought, wow, what is this? And then I love playing tennis, wish I could play better, but I love it, And in the tennis world, I saw another phenomenon. They got older and older and older, the top performers. So I was thinking, what on earth is going on there? In the end, it's all about performance, whether you're in business or whether you're in tennis, all about performance. How come that there's this dichotomy? So I started looking into it, as a curious person, I want to learn more about it. How can a tennis player, who has no time to recover really, just 20 seconds between the serves, how can they do that? And how can they do it at such a late age? And I realized that in this whole high performance scene, the concept of energy had been introduced, and that they were not talking about time management or whatever on the court. They were talking about how do you recharge? How do you keep your energy? How do you get resilience? And then I started my own journey and trying to figure out what is energy? What gives me energy? And I realized it's the old thing of body, mind, and soul. The body, I understand, but then on the mind is basically mental and emotional. And then on the spiritual side, nobody even talks about the spiritual sides, but those are the things, there are no more. Those are the things that give us energy, and they can also drain energy. There's a flow in this because you burn, in the morning you get up, you have a full tank of energy, typically if you have slept relatively well, and then you burn it through. So, and there are a lot of tricks, that the high performance players have learned, and leaders can learn the same thing. Leaders can learn absolutely the same thing. So in the end, we are even more high performance athletes, than a tennis player is, because a tennis player, after the game or after a tournament, they have a time where they can go somewhere else. We are on 24 hours or 25 hours, 8 days a week. It feels almost, So that got me into this. And in regards to the zones, it's relatively simple. You want to be in performance zone. Performance zone is where you have high energy, positive. But then life happens, So what do? Panic, So you immediately go into what I call survival zone, by high energy, but negative, So what do you do now? What do you do now? You have to find a mechanism how you quickly get back into performance zone. The first thing when you go into survival zone, it's very good. And the human body is made for this because it's the flight or fight response. We get adrenaline. Our focus goes like this. We get superpowers. The only thing is that the superpower lasts for an hour, for 2 hours maximum, and then you drop into burnout zone. So you have to very quickly get back into performance zone. And what's the trick of this? There's a ton of tricks, mental training, figuring out the situation, but you have to be aware of it. You get back into it. So life is not, I thought life is an ultra marathon. Whereas in reality, life is sprints of various distances and recharge. Sprints and recharge. Then recharge time and the sprint time is not equal time. It can be much, much less time. Today, there is a really simple way how you can figure it out for yourself, So I mean, many of us have some type of tracker, so, and this tracker shows me my heart rate. The heart rate for me is a super good indicator of whether you're stressed or not, one. The second one is breathing. If your breathing gets very shallow, very fast, then something is going on emotionally with you. The third one is vision. If your vision becomes a tunnel vision, where you only see one thing, then something is going on that is not healthy over a longer period of time, So there are things that you can learn how to observe yourself. And I would think that it's very easy to learn, I don't even have to look at the watch, and I know roughly exactly where my heart rate is, So because somehow you know your body, how the body feels, when the heart rate is outside of the zone that you want it to be in.